Hello, everyone. Tim Winders here. Welcome to this special edition of Seek, Go, Create. I called it when I was thinking about doing this between the holidays. Depending on when you're listening to this, you may have just finished up Christmas. You might be preparing for the new year. You might be listening to it after the new year, but I just called it between the holidays. We usually release episodes on Mondays. And this year, 2023, Christmas fell on Monday, New Year's Day fell on Monday. And I just thought it might be best to do an episode right between the two and release it then. And look at this as a time to maybe reflect and renew, look back on 2023 at some cool stuff that happened, maybe some of our top episodes and some things we created, and then do a look ahead into 2024 and what we can look forward to and what we can prepare for as far as 2024 goes. But man, I'm excited here. We're having a kind of a chill time of year just for us personally. Just so you know, I'm recording this a few days before Christmas, and Glory and I are in Arizona, and I'm sitting here in a t-shirt. I've got no shoes on. I've got a pair of shorts on, and it's going to be 70 something degrees outside today. And I love it. I love that kind of weather. I will tell you, my wife kind of digs snow. If you're listening to this when it releases between the holidays, we actually are going to be visiting our daughter and her family and our granddaughters up in Colorado. And I think we're going to be having some snow then. So you might be listening to this. She might be getting her wish. Glory might be getting her gift, which is being around snow. And of course, we'll both be enjoying because we'll be hanging out with our granddaughters, which is something that we love to do. But before I go any further, I just want to say this. It is my wish, my prayer, that you, your family, the people around you, that y'all have had a fantastic holiday season. Maybe it's continuing, maybe you're finished, maybe you've already moved into the new year. But I just hope it's been a blessed time, a relaxed time, a peaceful time, a time that you've remembered the season and what all it stands for. And so I'm just hopeful it's been a joy to you. I wanted to put on a festive, maybe a red shirt to celebrate Christmas. But guess what? I don't own a red shirt. If you've listened in here or watched these, you know that black is my primary color. I really got, for those that might be watching this video, got pretty aggressive and put on, we got some new merch at Seek, Go, Create. This is actually a bright gold, which is one of our colors that says Seek, Go, Create. And I'm not in a festive color. I guess for me, it's festive. Maybe as I head into the new year, I'm getting pretty radical with new wardrobe. So I'm not festive. Thought about putting on a Santa hat or something, but most of you probably would know that's not me. That would not be authentic. I would be faking and doing something different. And we want to stay authentic here as Seek, Go, Create, as we work on redefining what success is and not try to copy other people, not try to do what other people say we should do, but really adhere to what success means to us. Let's talk about 2023 and just some of the cool things that occurred. I guess maybe let me just do a few things, maybe personal. Glory and I had one of these years, I call it a Dickens year, Tale of Two Cities. It was the best of times and it was the worst of times. And I'm guessing that a lot of you may have been very similar. I mean, it was a real up and down year. I'll admit it really tested us in a lot of ways. But then we had so many cool things that happened. We stayed, we're in an RV, so we stayed in some really cool spots. We spent some time in the Black Hills. We obviously went back and forth to Colorado a few times, which is where we get to visit with our granddaughters and our daughter's family there. And also spent some time in southern Utah. And as I mentioned earlier, I'm now in Arizona. But in the midst of all that, we had to make a few trips back east and really spent almost a month there at one time. And then a few weeks there, just taking care of some family things. Glory's mother wasn't doing very well, and so we had to go tend to that. And then also in May, we had to go back and take care of my father's memorial service, which he passed away just a little over a year ago in December of 2022. A little bit of a bittersweet, a little bit of a challenge with those things, but had so many great things like the travels and the places that we went and the things we got to see and the people that we interacted with and just so many things. And I know y'all are so used to me saying this, but being a grandfather, being T Diddy, which is my name, to what is almost a 4-year-old and approaching a 2-year-old is one of the coolest things ever. And so about every 6 weeks or so, we were able to pop in and visit them, or they were able to visit us. And we had a summer camp with them. And that was just a load of fun. So again, some ups and downs, I'm sure just like you went through, but that was part of what our year was. And we're excited about moving into the new year. Not sure what it's going to hold, but we're getting prepped for it and are excited about what 2024 might have in store for us. There were also a few cool things that I did just to mix it up a little bit during the course of the year. I actually had my 60th birthday. I celebrated 60 years in November, and in early October, I just decided I wanted to do some things a little bit different. And I may talk about this at the end as I talk about some things we can do to prepare and get ready for a new year. But I actually made the decision to do two things in October. I gave up alcohol for the month of October, and I was going to give up news or media or the information. I'm an information junkie. I love gathering information. I feel as if I need it. So it's okay for me to say I probably have an addiction to information like many people do in our culture and world today. And I have 4 news sources that I read every morning, and then I go out and I find other sources and have some emails that come in, and I just wanted to stop doing all of that. And that's what I did in October. And what was interesting is I noticed just a few weeks in, I didn't really notice a lot of different things physically with eliminating alcohol. However, I noticed some incredible things mentally by eliminating all that stuff that came into my head. And so what I did is I decided to continue having a sip of wine or a little whiskey as I headed into November, but I decided that I would discontinue going to news sources and reading news. So I'm now in almost 90 days plus without doing that. And I'll tell you, I am noticing a significant difference in my mindset, in my attitude, in my outlook. I think, more positive. I believe I'm less cynical. I think I look at opportunities, and I kind of have a freshness and a lightness about me. There's a lot of heavy stuff going on in the world, and it is so easy to get bogged down in it. And I am not making light of any of the things going on. There's always conflicts that are going on in parts of the world. There's always issues and shootings and political things and financial things and business. There's always things going on. And I am in no way making light of those. I'm just coming to recognize that many of those things, there is nothing that I can do about them. I can lift them up in prayer. I may at times be able to do some things about those, but in most situations, they are just clouding and confusing my mind, probably causing me to think about things, dwell on things that I shouldn't be thinking about. Because, as many of you have heard me say, I think we all have assignments here on earth. I think that those of us that are believers and followers of Christ, that we have an assignment in God's kingdom. And I just realized that all the news, all the media, all the stuff that was clouding my mind was in all likelihood preventing me from pursuing that assignment that God has for me in his kingdom, because I kept thinking about all the junk. I just kept dwelling on it, rolling it over, rolling it over, rolling it over. That's one thing I did. And we'll talk more about some things as we head into the next year, but those were a couple of cool things that I did. Again, I'm taking a sip of wine here and there, and I'm actually probably drinking a little bit less than I was pre-October 1st, but eliminating all the news and the sources of information was a big deal. Let's talk about some cool things that happened here at Seek, Go, Create during the course of 2023. The year started off with a bang. We had a lot of good things going on, but over the course of 2023, we made a number of shifts. Some might have been noticeable to you, the people that are watching our videos or listening to our audio, and some may not. One of the big things that I did was I decided to do a series. It released in the month of May. It was called The Faith-Driven Leader, and it was 5 episodes of just me on mic. There was some content that I wanted to put together and create I put them in some compact episodes right around 30 to 40 minutes each. We put a quiz with it, the Faith Driven Leader quiz, that has some great information. And for those that go through the quiz, there's also a 12 email step training that you get over the course of about a month or month and a half after you take the quiz. And so I was very pleased with how that came out. So if you haven't checked that out, make sure you go check out the Faith Driven Leader series, either on YouTube, we've got the videos and things there, or on the audio, and just check it out. I think we grouped it together as a season, so you should be able to get that all together. And we'll also include links to get tied into the quiz and also some links so that you can check that out. Another thing that we did was we changed some of our processes behind the scenes. We were outsourcing our audio editing, our video editing, and some video clips. And I'll tell you what we did with some tools that are now available with AI and just some of the technology. We were able to bring all of that in, and most of that I am now doing. I've got some help from my wife, who does a great job with some scheduling and just putting together some of the structure and systems. And she also helps with the graphics. She's the one that does this. For those that are looking, these cool graphics on this t-shirt that I've got, and got a mug here with Seek, Go, Create and some other things. This is our merch that, before you ask, it is not available for sale yet. It might be in the not too distant future, but right now this is just especially for the host. So it's stuff that I have that is Seek, Go, Create. We're checking some things out. We'll see if we want to make that available. But we brought all of that in-house and started doing some things that allowed us to create some more content. And I'll tell you, I want to go ahead and admit this, that AI, Chat GPT, and a lot of other tools allowed us to do this. We are using a lot of tools behind the scenes so that we can create some of the things that we're creating with our content, our audio, our video here at Seek, Go, Create. And just a few examples. One of the things that we're doing with each episode, we are creating 3 short 60-second-ish clips that are not really to promote the episode. They are content rich. They are short, content driven clips that we're putting on all of our social platforms. We're putting those on YouTube and other places so that you can get short bursts of information. And another thing that we're doing with that is we're creating content that is articles. In other words, we started putting articles on LinkedIn that are summaries of the episodes. They're really good, 3 to 5 highlights or key lessons that you can get from each episode. And then also just recently started putting articles on Medium. So if you're plugged into any of those and want to check out our things there, go do that. And we just started trying to put more valuable content on all the social platforms that we are on. And just as a reminder, we are definitely on all the podcast platforms, and we're also on YouTube, and we're putting information obviously on both of those. But we are also on Facebook, Seek, Go, Create. We're also on LinkedIn, Seek, Go, Create. We're also on TikTok, Seek, Go, Create, Instagram, and I believe that might be it. Oh, X, Twitter, whatever we're calling it now, X, Twitter, and Threads, the new Threads. So we've got information on all of those. So if any of those are your favorite or your social media platform of choice, definitely follow us and connect with us there and add comments and things, because we're putting short videos up there, short bursts of content, so that you can stay plugged into what we're doing here at Seek, Go, Create. And one other thing that we're able to do because of the AI tools is we are able to update some of our notes. We're constantly adjusting and tweaking, but one of the things that I really want to do is I want someone who goes to our notes either on one of the platforms. Some of the platforms we can't put this much content there, but if you go to seekgocreate.com to any episode, we typically put some short descriptions, a quote, some information on the guest if we have a guest. And we also have resources. We like to put links to all the resources that are mentioned. In other words, if I'm mentioning some of our episodes and all here on this special episode, there should be links that are there. But another thing we like to do is put key learning points, action items, and then also some summaries, so that if you happen to not be able to listen to an episode, or if you listen in your car while you're out and about, just want to go back and do a review of a few points, you can go to the website and you can get that pretty darn easily because we're able to include a good bit of information there. We also have transcripts and all too, but you can actually go check out and get a lot of information on our website, on our notes, our new notes that we're developing at Seek Go Create. And there's one other thing that's interesting. I know that not everyone is a fan of TikTok. And a lot of people say, don't go to TikTok. They're collecting and gathering information. I just have a clue for you. All these social media platforms are gathering your information. Yeah, TikTok might have a connection to a foreign government, but just between you and me, I'm not sure that I trust many of the governments, but TikTok is one I actually enjoy going and just looking at short videos and short clips of things, but we do put our short video clips there. And something that's really cool that they added, they really do add a lot of features over there, is that you can go look at a clip from any of our episodes over the last, I think 6 months, we've been able to put clips up there. And if you like that clip or want to listen to the full episode, there's a place that you could click right on that clip and just right in the TikTok application there, the app, you can listen to the full podcast interview or the full podcast episode. Now, to me, I think that's pretty cool because most other places you would listen to a clip or a short burst of information, and then you would have to leave that app and go somewhere else, go to your podcast app or go over to YouTube to watch or listen to the full thing. TikTok allows you to do it. So at some point, if you're a TikTok fan, if you're not, that's okay, cool. Don't throw stuff at me or anything like that. But if you're a TikTok fan or go to TikTok from time to time, visit TikTok, go to Seek Go Create, look at some of our clips and jump down and then go listen to the full episode. And we just added this towards the beginning of December, but we now have a place where if you dig this content and really love what we're doing here at Seek Go Create, you can buy the host, me, Tim, a cup of coffee or a sip of whiskey or whatever you would like to by supporting us financially. All you have to do is go to seekgocreate.com/support and you can leave a tip. I think we've got $1, $5, $10, or put in your own amount. I will tell you any amount you put in would be welcome. There's a place you can add some comments. I'll tell you, if you put a comment there, there's a good chance that you will be featured on an episode. I'll give you a shout out and I would appreciate it greatly. Any support is welcome. We are attempting to redefine success and really put some stories out there so people can hear the journeys that people have gone on to define what success means for them. Either they've been forced to redefine it or they have forced themselves to redefine it. And they're redefining success, really trying to find out what success means to them. And I believe that message is important. So if you want to support that, you now can do that at seekgocreate.com/support. Go check it out and give us a tip or buy me a cup of coffee or support us, whatever you would like to do. That would be greatly appreciated. One of the things that's always cool to do is to look back and see which episodes or short video clips were the most popular. And now we've got multiple places that we can look back and see which content is just resonating or getting out there and people are responding to it, positive, negative, either one of those is fine. And so what I want to do now is I want to do a recap of some of the top clips and episodes from 2023. The first thing that I want to do here, and I'm going to actually bring these clips in, is I want to share with you the short clips, the short highlights that got the most views over on YouTube. I really love that we're able to put this short form content up because it really is a way to find out what really resonates with people and things that people want to hear and want to listen to. And I'm going to actually go through the top three short video clips that we put up. And we only started putting up clips around May of 2023. And so let me go 3, 2, 1 here. And I'm actually going to show you these clips. You'll be able to listen to them if you're listening in on your podcast player. But if you're on YouTube watching this, I'm going to pull these clips. The third most viewed clip that we had was from Craig Thayer. And let me set this up. Craig Thayer was a trauma surgeon, and he actually had dyslexia, and he is all about redefining success. And this is a clip where I asked him about his dyslexia, because he was able to become a surgeon with having the issue of dyslexia. And so this was a pretty powerful clip. Listen in on this clip from Craig Thayer.
I just grew up first, second grade. Teachers, he's a slow reader. He needs to read more. In third grade, they actually tested your words per minute. And I skipped around. I jumped roll lines. I sweat when Star Wars comes on and there's that whole, and I land far away, long time ago. I'm like, oh, I can't keep up. Or I can't stand watching subtitled movies. I miss them where I got to pause them and read it. And then, so I just knew that, but I never really thought that it was a disability or a problem. And I've taken a million tests. MCATs are 8 hours long. Your boards are 8 hours long. I have angst about those exams because I look at the time and the number of questions and make sure I stay on pace. And then I worry more about staying up, which is completely distracting, but I do okay. And then the dyslexia for processing speed, because when you read, you use your cortex normally, but dyslexics use deeper gray matter. So we have a higher speed to do that. It's just not as organized. So reading's hard.
All right, this next clip is our second most watched clip over on YouTube. And man, I loved this conversation I had with Joshua Brown. And he is a pressure washing pastor, had a background in ministry, and has started a pressure washing business in the Nashville area, and now is actually allowing other people to participate in that business. And we had a great conversation because I love talking ministry. I love talking business. We were able to mash those all together. But what I really loved was him telling his story. So in this clip that you're going to listen to here, he's giving some of the background of his story. And let me just tell you, it's powerful. So listen to this clip from the pressure washing pastor, Joshua Brown.
Frankie said to my mom, I'll pay for his abortion, but I won't be in his life. My mom at 15 with nothing, no support, no money, broke. Look at her, so like nothing. She's got nothing. She ended up saying, I can't kill him. And so the reason I like to talk about it is because I'm like, it's everything. And true to Frankie's words, he chose to not be in our lives when we grew up homeless and with different boyfriends. And my mom had married 2 or 3 different times. We live in the back of soup kitchens, church fellowship halls, cars in different cities, different projects, and move from place to place. By the time I'm 17, I'm in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. I'm a drug dealer, pothead, high school dropout, which makes sense. It looks like that was my pathway for where we were at. I had no dad figure except for Tupac, NWA, Snoop Dogg. Those were the guys that I looked up to.
That was quite an episode. And let me tell you, if you haven't listened to it, maybe listen to all these. And then the number one, I interviewed Mike Morawski, and Mike's got a great story. He's in commercial real estate, but some years back, he actually spent some time in prison. And we go through the full story and everything here, but this clip is just a brief snippet of the conversation we had about time he spent in prison and the impact it had on him and how he had to redefine success. And let me tell you, it was quite a story of resilience. So listen to this clip. This was our most listened to short clip of Seek, Go, Create in 2023 from Mike Morawski.
I went to prison and I thought my life was over. I always tell people, I say, I never flew private. I didn't have a big house. I didn't have a boat. We didn't have a fancy car. I was the neighborhood baseball coach. I was home every night for dinner. And I got ripped from that to live in a 12 by 12 room with 3 men I didn't know, nor did I like. Wonder what the hell happened in my life.
At what age? And you were mid 50s?
53.
Yeah.
And I'm in prison about 3 weeks and my wife divorces me and it wrecked me. And now I'm like, okay, now what? How do I get through this? And I'm mad at God, by the way, at this point. Now I'm pissed.
Phenomenal episode there. That was excellent. There's one other thing I want to mention here that's just odd to me. A few years back, so it wasn't released in 2023. It might have been 22 or 21. I was doing some book reviews, just me looking in the camera, and in 60 seconds or less, I would talk about a book. And some of them did pretty well, but one of them, I don't really know how to define viral. Truthfully, I don't. But there is a video that I did where I reviewed the book, The Alchemist, put it up on our YouTube channel, and to this day, it is continually our most watched video clip, our most watched of anything we've done. And truthfully, the quality, I was in an Airbnb in Colorado Springs when I did it. I just flipped on the camera, held the book up and said, I just finished reading The Alchemist, and I said a few things about it. I would not have considered it to be my best work. However, it has had massive amounts of views and continues to every single day. So if you're over on our YouTube channel and you want to just look at our most viewed, it would be the short book review of The Alchemist. Now, that does bring up an interesting question, maybe a little bit of audience participation here, because if you think that is something that I should do more of, if you're listening in via podcast on audio, or if you're watching this on YouTube, I'd love to, if you're on YouTube watching this, jump down in the comments and let me know. Yeah, Tim, give us some more of those short book reviews, or nah, not for me, or whatever. I'd love to hear it, because I can do more of those, but it's just something that I did for a while and stopped doing. I do go through a lot of books, read a lot of books, and I could definitely do some book reviews like we did with The Alchemist. We also do our entire 60-minute videos, and now our 60-minute audios are now going up to our YouTube channel. So you could listen to audio just on YouTube, or you could watch the interview, and there's some back and forth that you can actually see of the guest during the interview process over on YouTube. I do want to go ahead and tell you that our number one watched long form video over on YouTube is one of my, gosh, I've got so many favorite interviews. I love what I get to do here and talking to people, but it's called Living Out Your Faith, Redefining Church and Embracing Everyday Discipleship with Caesar Kalinowski. And that was such a phenomenal interview. So if you want to check out our number one video of our long interviews, then go check that one out with Caesar Kalinowski, or go listen to it. It's a great interview. Now, another thing that we can track and measure is that we can go to our host for our audio podcast, and we can see which episodes over the course of the year or a period of time has been downloaded the most. The number one episode that was downloaded, it released back in March, and it was when we celebrated our 200th episode. And it was a little bit of a different episode, because my wife and I sat down at the camera, and I think we did it, for those of you that are watching this, just to my right in the RV here. And we just sat down and we flipped the table a little bit, and she interviewed me and just asked some questions about the podcast and that milestone that we reached, that 200th episode, and some things that I thought about it and some other things that she asked. And so that episode was our most downloaded, and it was our most downloaded by a good margin over our next most downloaded. But let me just give you a few that are top ones, and then I'm going to say something about our number one downloaded episode, regular episode. We had 3 of our episodes that I'll mention here. The third place that I'll say is the interview we did with Mary Schneider. Great interview. Take the Stage, The Power of Your Voice with Mary Schneider, that released towards the tail end of January in 2023. And so that was a great one. We'll include links if you want to go check that out. The next episode that was one of our most downloaded, I guess the second most downloaded, it was a solo episode. It was interesting. It was one that I put together fairly quickly, but it was a topic that I was noticing in some of the coaching I was doing and some of the teams and organizations I was working with. And I just put something together called The Power of Being Emotionally Intelligent. And I just put, it was a teaching that I did, and it really turned out well. I enjoyed it. We'll include a link down below. But that episode was our second most downloaded. And drum roll, please, the number one downloaded episode of 2023 podcast episode for Seek, Go, Create was an episode that released right at a year ago. It was the first episode of 2023 from January 2nd. And it was something, it's really resonated on some of our social medias. And every time I mention this to people, they either scratch their head or they go, that's awesome, or I want to get more information. The title was Jesus Never Hustled. Why should you? And I'll tell you that it was my response to the hustle culture. And it was my response to something that I keep seeing that's bothering me. And that is this hustle culture mindset that a lot of people have. Now, the reason I can speak to that is because I am one that has attempted to overcome that hustle mindset myself. And there's nothing wrong with working hard. There's nothing wrong with hustling. I'm not saying that. But when you become addicted to it and you believe that it is the only way to be successful, then I believe it's something that you need to really make sure you're defining it properly. And it's why it fits into the redefining success that we do here. So the number one podcast episode from 2023 was Jesus Never Hustled. Why should you? If you have not heard that one, go down and click on the link and go listen to that. And I do want to give you a glimpse of something that might be a clue as to something you'll see as we head into the next year. This is a topic that's been more and more something that I've been thinking about and seeing. And I see a real contrast between many of the people we talk to on Seek, Go, Create and some things I see out in the culture and out in the world. And again, I am not anti-working hard. I'm not all for being lazy. I just know that there are certain people that when they hear things like, if it is to be, it's up to me, or hustle, 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 hustle and grind, things like that, that they start going down that path and it becomes an addiction to them. That if they believe they can get certain things done in 8 hours a day, then they can push it and do 9 hours, 10 hours, 11 hours. And I want to confess that was me. I was that guy all during the late 80s and the 90s into the 2000s until I came against a brick wall, which was the financial downturn of 2008. And let me tell you what, if that didn't get my attention, God got my attention. And I realized I cannot continue at that pace. It is not working. I've got to do things differently. And so that's what this topic is all about. And I am strongly considering another podcast that is entirely focused on people that have had that addiction to hustle and grind, and you need to overcome it because it's not sustainable. It's bad for your health. It's bad for your relationships. It's not working. You might be thinking that you're achieving and accomplishing some things, but you look in your bank account and you look at how much time it's taking and you realize that's not working. And so keep your eyes out right here. We'll announce it here first for a possible new podcast that'll have a community and some other things wrapped around it that might be related to people that are addicted to that hustle. Okay, so that's our recap, our look back at 2023 and what a great year it was. I tell you what, I'm super excited, but I tell you what's even more interesting, and that is the people that we have been connected with that we're able to interview and then share with you as we head into 2024. We have recorded almost all the episodes that are going to be released in January. And let me just tell you what, they are off the charts phenomenal. And so let me just give you a brief glimpse. We've got Jean Tien is going to be coming up. And let me just tell you what, she had Ivy League degrees, working in the financial world, everything that anybody would say is successful. But yet in her mind and early on, she realized this was not the success that she wanted. And she helps people that realize that overcome or redirect or shift. And so it was like the perfect definition of redefining success. And so Gene TN is coming up. I think that'll be in early January or one of the first episodes. And then we've got Mike Burchick. And Mike has a great story. He had a large company. That company had done well. He basically ran mountain bike adventures all over the world, trips where you would take a trip and go mountain biking to remote, exotic places. It was the largest company in the world, as I understand it, that did that. And he sold that company a few years ago. And now, get this, a few times a year, he takes a group of entrepreneurs to some of the most remote and unique places in the world. I think he just came back from Mongolia with a group. He's been to Morocco, to the desert. And we just have a conversation about how those type people that he interacts with, how they redefine success. And let me just tell you what, there's so many incredible lessons that you can get from that conversation, from that interview. And then there's a conversation that I had with Heather Parody. And Heather's one that I've been connected with on social media for some time. And she runs a group and a podcast called Unconventional Leaders. That's how I first connected with her. And I just have always loved what she does there. I noticed that she had made some shifts in what she was doing and what she was creating. And I recognized that she was going through quite the redefining of success in her life and all that she was doing. So we had a really cool conversation. And she comes from the deep South, a spiritual background. She's gone through a lot of changes and all in the way she looks at her faith. And we had a great conversation about that and just success in general. And so make sure you listen to Heather Parody when she comes up in January. And then many others that we have on the books. I've got scheduled to interview people that have exited companies and made 8 and 9 figures that realized that all that they did, all that they went through was not really successful to them. When they look back on it now, yeah, it was about the money, but that they would do things different now. And we can learn so much from those people. There are just so many cool interviews, a lot of people in ministry, a lot of people in business. So make sure you stay plugged in. If you're watching this, you're still with us here. Again, make sure you're subscribed and following because there's so many good things that are coming up. I don't know when you're listening to this. As I said, when we began, you could be listening to this between the holidays, which is when it was released, or as you've moved into the new year. But I really do want this, what we're doing here, to support the cool and great things that you have in store in your near future. It is my desire that whatever success means to you, that you are in the process of defining it and getting as clear about what that means for you and your organization, your business, your ministry, your family, as clear as it can possibly be. And again, I'm just hopeful that these conversations that we have here are helpful. I do encourage you to shake some things up this year. I don't know if it'll be an awesome year. I don't know if it'll be a challenging year like I talked about our 2023 was in many ways, but I think that if we're living life, we're going to have some things that are really cool and some things that are challenging. That's part of life. That's part of living it. And so those ups and downs are the things we just have to deal with. But just to get prepared for a phenomenal year. Maybe you need to do something like I did, where you remove some of the information that comes into your head so that you can just be clearer in your thinking. And if that's the case, I just am hopeful that you're able to identify those things that need to change. As a coach, as someone who works with individuals, I'm always looking to adjust and tweak things, and I encourage people to do the same. If there is anything that we can do for you here at Seek, Go, Create, don't hesitate to reach out. If you need a coach or want to book a discovery call with me, there's links typically down below that you can go do that. I will get on the phone with just about anyone for a 30-minute call just to chit chat and discuss what I can help you with, or what you might need a coach for, or maybe just to help you get unstuck or move forward. So be more than happy to do that. I appreciate you listening in here. I'm so thankful for you. We should be back on our Monday release schedules in January, not January 1st, but January 8th is when we release an episode. So this was a much different episode here between the holidays. I've enjoyed it. I enjoyed just flipping on the mic and talking and sharing some things. Hope it's been a great season for you. Until next time, continue being all that you were created to be.